Welcome back to Cine Recap, where we revisit cinema's finest. Today we're taking a deep dive into the 1968 film Once Upon a Time in the West. If you're a fan of the Western classics, prepare yourself for an unforgettable journey through a world of ruthless outlaws, sweeping landscapes, and epic showdowns. Our story opens with a slow, tense scene. Three gunmen arrive at a desolate train station. They're waiting for a mysterious man known as Harmonica. The silence stretches out as they wait, only broken by small, mundane sounds. The creaking of a windmill, the buzzing of a fly. The sound of a distant train breaks the silence, drawing closer and closer. Finally, the train pulls into the station, and Harmonica steps off, playing a haunting tune on his harmonica. But he's not just a musician. A shootout erupts. The gunmen fall one by one, and Harmonica is left standing. This mysterious character, who barely says a word, is clearly not someone to be messed with. Meanwhile, on a nearby farm called Sweetwater, Brett McBain prepares to welcome his new wife, Jill, who is arriving from New Orleans. But McBain and his children never get the chance to meet Jill. As they go about their day, a group of gunmen, led by the ruthless Frank, arrives and massacres the entire family. It's a brutal, cold-blooded murder, and Frank leaves no witnesses behind. The land becomes a key part of a larger, darker plan. Jill McBain, unaware of the tragedy, arrives at Sweetwater to start her new life. She is stunned to find her new husband and his children dead. Jill is now left alone to figure out what to do. We soon learn that the land McBain bought is incredibly valuable, not because of anything on the surface, but because it's directly in the path of the expanding railroad, making Sweetwater a critical location for Morton, a wealthy and ruthless railroad baron. Jill finds herself thrust into a dangerous struggle over the land, and powerful forces are closing in. While Jill tries to make sense of her new reality, we meet another key player, Cheyenne. He's an outlaw with a reputation, and when we first see him, he's being transported as a prisoner. But Cheyenne doesn't stay captured for long. He escapes in dramatic fashion, shooting his way out of a moving train. Cheyenne has heard about the McBain massacre, and even though Frank's men were behind it, the blame has fallen on Cheyenne and his gang. Together, Cheyenne and Harmonica head to Sweetwater. Back at Sweetwater, Jill tries to assert her ownership over the land, but she's in way over her head. Frank, who we now know works for the railroad baron Morton, pays her a visit. He threatens and intimidates her, trying to force her to sell the land. Jill refuses, determined to fight back. Frank underestimates her resolve, but his cold, calculating nature shows that he won't hesitate to use violence again to get what he wants. At the same time, Morton, who is physically weak and sick, remains laser-focused on his ambition. He needs Sweetwater to complete his railroad, and he'll stop at nothing to get it. Morton's wealth has bought him loyalty, but he's hired a snake in Frank, who is becoming increasingly unpredictable. While Jill battles for control of Sweetwater, Harmonica continues his quest to track down Frank. Along the way, Harmonica confronts several of Frank's men, leading to tense standoffs. One of these moments comes when Harmonica visits a trading post where he again plays his harmonica in the face of danger, signaling to Frank's men that he's not afraid. Harmonica is a man of few words, but his presence speaks volumes. Frank finally takes notice of Harmonica, puzzled by this man who seems to be following him. They confront each other during a tense moment at a construction site, where Morton's railroad is being built. Frank asks Harmonica who he is and what he wants, but Harmonica refuses to answer directly, leaving Frank unnerved. As tensions build, the stakes are raised when Cheyenne and his gang plan a daring attack on one of Morton's trains. The train is carrying a fortune in money and supplies, and Cheyenne sees it as a way to hit back at Morton and Frank. The attack is chaotic and action-packed, with bullets flying and the train speeding through the desert. As the film progresses, we see more of the shifting power dynamics between Frank and Morton. Frank, who starts off as Morton's hired gun, begins to challenge his boss's authority, realizing he can take over Morton's empire for himself. Morton, weakened by illness, struggles to keep control, but Frank's ambition has no limits. Everything comes to a head as Harmonica and Frank prepare for their inevitable showdown. Harmonica has been hunting Frank, but it's not until the final moments that we understand why. In a flashback, we see Frank as a younger man, cruel and merciless. He forced Harmonica's brother to stand on another man's shoulders with a noose around his neck, leaving young Harmonica to watch helplessly as his brother died. Harmonica has been seeking vengeance ever since. In the iconic final duel, the two men face off in a deserted landscape, framed by Leone's signature close-ups. The tension is unbearable as Harmonica's harmonica plays one last time. Frank is finally defeated, and as he lies dying, he asks Harmonica who he is. Harmonica places the harmonica in Frank's mouth, revealing his identity and the reason behind his revenge. With Frank dead, Harmonica's mission is complete. He leaves Sweetwater behind, riding off into the horizon. Jill, who has endured so much, takes charge of Sweetwater, ready to build a future for herself. Cheyenne, who has developed a bond with Jill, helps her set up the station. But in a bittersweet moment, Cheyenne quietly slips away and dies from his wounds, marking the end of an era. The film closes with Jill at the train station, symbolizing the new world that's taking shape as the Old West fades away. And that's the epic story of Once Upon a Time in the West, a tale of vengeance, greed, and survival set against the backdrop of the American frontier. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more classic movie recaps. See you in the next one.